I'm your host, Charise Beckett, and
I am your host, Mark Thompson.
how are you?
If you focus on what you did in the past,
To lead, transform, and shine.
this is a great collaboration. Career Transformation Academy and Queens Behind the Scenes. Martin Thompson, Charise Beckett, about to tear it up. Hello, my good people. Welcome to Corporately Speaking, where we unpack corporate realities on how to navigate them successfully. I am your host, Mark Thompson in Cabo.
And I am jealous. I am the co-host, Charise Beckett, and I am jealous of Mark for being in Cabo.
Yeah, definitely jealous, but here we are. I'm here. I got Career Transformation Academy all the way where I go. I don't care where we are internationally, and we got Queens Behind the Scenes, Corporately Speaking, doing this thing again and making a great. This is gonna be a great conversation today, right?
I think so too.
So I know.
So go ahead.
No, you're good. I was going to say we're going to dive into it again. DEI is a big topic around here, so I mean, let's. What's the title today? What do we have?
We have Beyond the Buzzwords, making DEI meaningful in corporate spaces, like real strategies of fostering inclusion. So talking about that, and I know it's been a big, I have a lot of opinions myself. I know it's been a big, huge topic. And diversity, equity, and inclusion beyond the corporate jargon. Like, how do companies go from performative gestures to real like impact? And is that even possible? Is it possible?
Right.
And I will say, when you look at the rollbacks a lot of these companies have been doing, one of the questions that I had, and we can talk through it today, is were the initiatives helpful?
Right.
What was the ROI? And I'm not saying I think diversity, equity, and inclusion definitely benefited white women more than anyone else.
Oh yeah, statistically it did. It did.
Statistically, yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact, right?
Yeah.
So that is a fact. And so, but what did that do for organizations? And I think that is the rollback is for companies are, okay, we're doing this, especially companies that didn't want to do it in the first place. We're doing this, and I'm not seeing, any return on my investment. I see, I to be honest, a lot of the DEI people that I used to see on like Instagram and social media, I felt like, I'm like, are they in marketing or are they in I couldn't figure it out, because I was like, it looked like they just be having a bunch of fun.
You can, you know what? I had a person on my podcast before, and she's a global DEI specialist, and she broke down so much for me that made sense, because again, I had to learn it's not just about a color, it's not about a race, but she started breaking down the things that happen in other countries, and I was like, oh, I get it now. They created a fad, and corporate America took it on as this is popular now. But at the end of the day, you had to recognize this was needed for everybody to thrive. And I think that's the big thing that is missing today. And like you said, this is the why. What's the why to these companies? What is that return on the investment that's coming back? And I think we're going to lose that. But I heard somebody say this the other day, and I thought it was very important. You can throw DEI away. We're not going to get anywhere until we have solidarity with everybody anyway.
I mean, that is facts on facts on facts. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it is, because it is solidarity, but I mean, and I've been trying to be so optimistic about, I mean, this environment right now is like super crazy. And we are living in weird and uncomfortable times and uncertain times. And I'm looking at where we are now with diversity, equity, and inclusion, or whatever people are calling it. Some people had inclusion, diversity, equity, and then an A or a B or belonging, all similar things. But when we look at it beyond the lip service of corporations, and I think that they have said, I mean, we are now in a time where they're like, oh, ain't no lip service because ain't no DEI.
Yeah,
A lot of
exactly.
these companies is like, oh, we don't have to have no lip service because we're not
Right.
doing it.
Right. Right. We're just not doing it. So we didn't hire you because we didn't care. We don't care anymore.
Right.
There's nothing.
Right.
It's like the guardrails of my moral compass can be let down because I don't have to obey to anything anymore. And I don't know. It's a tough subject to really hold on to.
It is because also you got to remember the laws have not changed. So like discriminatory laws haven't changed. Like it's still illegal to discriminate against people. So like that hasn't changed. But what has happened is the flip on the discrimination of saying, well, DEI is discriminatory to the majority.
Exactly. Like, okay, if you have a disability, you're a woman of color, or it doesn't matter, whatever it is that is a minority, you're a benefit of DEI. And that, like you said, white women benefited more than anybody. Number one, and then white men. So you just took it away just to go back to the old ways of what?
Like the good old boy. I don't know. I don't either. And I like when we talk about embedding DEI in leadership and in the culture, first it needs C-suite buy-in. That's like the other thing. It's like the C-suite, especially the CEO, has got to be aligned with the DEI strategy. And let's not get confused. If you want a DEI person that is a leader of DEI, you want a strategist, you want someone with executive presence, and you want someone that is able to move with all different levels of employees. They're able to relate to all, but still step in a room and you're like, oh, that's so-and-so. And they, whatever. One of the companies that I thought had done a really good job at DEI, which now I'm kind of disappointed in them, was Target. Target did so well with like Tabitha Brown's brand and like really, because it is hard. Let's be real. It is hard for minorities or people of color or Black people, period, to get their items on the shelves at major retailers. It is. I heard.
Is that a plane? Airplane. Yeah, it's a plane. It's right there.
He said it right. So yeah, like, it is hard for retailers that are not the majority, that are minorities, to get their items on the shelves. That is a fact. Like, that is a fact. So what Target did was so great about creating a campaign where it did allow us to have Honey Pot, where it did allow us to get Tabitha Brown, like where we got these things that were also not just for Black people. Like, I love Honey Pot. These are feminine products. Like, come on. Like,
I love Honey Pot.
Okay, yeah. Like, well, yeah. You're like, yes, I love Honey Pot. Yes,
I
use
subscribe.
that. You said
I got crypto in Honey Pot.
in Honey Pot. Yes. And let me tell you, that's not just for minorities. That's for everybody to keep clean. So like, it's not just us. And so I think just like Tabitha Brown, her popcorn and her popcorn is like my favorite. That garlic parmesan, let me tell you,
and her seasonings
every
too.
single time. Her seasonings, I just love Tab. Listen, if I could get her on Queens Behind the Scenes, I would totally do it. Tabitha, that is my request. Hear me out. But like that unleashed, what Target did was it unleashed or I don't even know. It elevated brands. It elevated brands that generally wouldn't have been elevated had they not. And I thought that was such a good. Now we 4 years after 2020 and after all of the things.
Mi amigo. Sorry.
You good?
Go ahead. I'm getting interrupted by anyway. Yeah.
You're good. Yeah. So look at like the shift from 2020 to now and what has changed and what happened in 2020? Tell me about 20. We had the pandemic. We know that.
The pandemic. We had George Floyd. We say George Floyd. It was a lot of people that, as far as Black folks, but even tying that to Black Lives Matter and all the different movements and things that were changing. I have an audience now. It's great. We have a good time. But what I would say is the mindset shifts. A lot of the CEOs, a lot of these companies were just trying to find the ways that we're going to make more money. Where's the business is going to move? And I think going back to your point earlier, if the right CEO comes in and only has a mindset of sales, they're not going to have a mindset of inclusion, diversity, and equity across the company. They just want to bring in the right people that's going to make our capital go up. And if our capital goes up, that means we're doing well. But if the company says, the employee says they're not happy, they don't care about it because they're not invested in that space. So I think money is a big, I don't say money's the root of all evil. It's a big point in space that is really affecting the way the employees are being treated in the workplace. Because if you're not thinking like, oh, I want a happy company, which actually helps us thrive and build more money too, the more I got happy employees, the more money we actually make.
Of course, yeah.
you know,
I mean,
so,
that's just the facts, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, the prioritization of DEI, like you said, because it became as a fad, it went up and it peaked, and then it's just like, yeah, we don't have to care about this anymore. Then the president says, you don't have to care about it, and they're like, oh, yeah, take it off. We don't have to worry about it.
Take it off. Yeah, that's all we needed to know.
Right.
That's what it seemed like. Oh, that's all we needed to know. Get rid of this stuff.
Right.
You know what but also, do you think that around, I felt like in 2020, 2021 too, all the way through like 2022, I felt like companies, number one was like, oh my gosh, we can't have all the Black people quit. We got to do, so that was one thing.
You know what? Speaking to your point, here's something that really, and this is just sidebar from that. Why did every DEI director, entrepreneur, why were they minorities? If it's for everybody, why did you hire only Black people?
But that was, well, I liked couples, yes, because that was what I saw. I don't have a statistic on that or data to back it up. I will Google and find one real quick.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that I loved companies who the DEI person was. Like we had, when I was at my last employer, we had a director who was Southeast Asian. So like that really, I was like, yes, okay, Jenny, do it. She was doing the thing. And so I liked that. And you're right. Like if it's for everybody, I got to find that statistic because I know it had to be more Black DEI professionals because that's what I saw.
Yeah.
But did we capitalize on, like, do you think, because every time I turned around, somebody was doing DEI consulting.
Yes. Here's the problem that I saw, and this is what I heard from a good friend, is that they had to struggle to get initiatives across. If there was a program or a process or something that helped, it was like climbing a mountain. So they had these roles, but nobody understood it. They did not understand why DEI was important. They didn't understand how they could bring value. It's like we brought it on because everybody agreed we should have it. But now, how do we make this thing impactful? Now, some companies got it right, but some companies just had the role. And then when they cut it off, what happens? Black people lose jobs. Asians lose jobs. Hispanics lose jobs. The only people that are losing jobs are the minorities because white people don't have the DEI role. I haven't met one person that is, Caucasian in the DEI space. Now, if you have, that's an anomaly, but I never heard it. Never saw it. So what you look up?
I will say, I just looked up. It said this was from the Philadelphia Women's Network. This is not like a great. Okay, so the biggest recipients of DEI, white women have been the biggest beneficiaries of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the United States. That includes programs like affirmative action, diversity hiring, and corporate DEI initiatives.
Right.
So, I mean, and then. Yeah, 60% of DEI hires were white women. 60%. So that's the stat. Where's this coming from? Hold on.
Right.
I mean, shoot, this is on LinkedIn.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so here are some statistics on DEI. Racial breakdown of non-white generation: 25% Hispanic, 14% Black, 6% Asian, and 5% other races and a combination of races. So. That's that. But I got to get back here because I really do think, now listen to hear me out. I do think that some CEOs were like, you ever seen kids, if you give a kid a hamburger, you got 10 more kids, and they like, oh, she got a hamburger, I want a hamburger.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what it is. Like,
They got
or a
DEI,
new
I want
toy.
DEI.
Yeah, you got a new toy, or they got.
But
Oh,
now you don't know
they
what to do with it.
right. Like you got a brand new like computer or like whatever it is, the new gadget. I mean, but that's naturally how people are. But even in business, oh, they got something we don't have. It's a competitive thing. DEI became competitive, but didn't know
It
how to
became
use it.
competitive. They didn't know how to use it, and then would hire people. It was a lot of, and I'm going to say this, there were a lot of people that don't know about DEI hiring DEI professionals. And it's like, well, then they get in there and they're like, well, you're not performing. Performing what? You don't even know what the job is supposed to do.
Exactly. I've heard that whole discussion about here I am producing and being productive, and I have no way to be graded. And so you're getting meets expectations. It's like, I just
Yes.
changed the whole ecosystem of your company. What?
Company. Yes,
Yeah, it doesn't make
because there are
sense.
no metrics. Well, because there's no real, like, what, I mean, I can't say there's no real, but what are the metrics associated with DEI? What would you think are the metrics associated with it? What are the metrics? I mean, you can't be like, okay, we
Like,
got 10 more blacks today. I mean, you can't, like,
yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you,
I
this
mean,
is here's what I saw at a lot of the meetings from the VP of DEI. She would use metrics on the basis of race hires. So they knew how much more people were in leadership. Kind of like when we had the statistics here, she had the statistics on leadership, but also the pay is also another thing. The pay equity dispersion, or is that the right word? Anyway, were people
well,
getting
pay
paid
equity, like
fairly
the,
across? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, were people getting paid
the
fairly
spread.
at each race? So what we saw was it was still lower in the African American community. There wasn't as many hires. There was more in the Hispanic, and it matches everything that the data says in the internet today. Black, Hispanic, then it's white, then it's Asian. It's like what? I'm sitting in the meeting going like, y'all gonna do something about it? Because you got a whole DI person that's fighting for everybody in equity, and it's not happening.
But that's the other thing. Okay, so here's another situation. What if you
Uh-huh.
have DEI people and you're not giving them access to the information and data they need to actually make a difference? That's the other thing. Like,
Right.
that's a setup for failure as well, right? Like, if I
It
don't have
is.
the data I need to make a difference, if I don't know our current where we are currently by the data, how am I supposed to make any improvements, or how am I supposed to? There's no metric.
Right. We don't have 20 years of a DEI workforce to know what it looks like
No,
at
right.
all.
Exactly. Just like I say, it's like this like outdated where we don't have. So I was just looking at, and this is not the same, but it's kind of similar. I was looking at dermatology because I only go to a black dermatologist because my skin has melanin and I need somebody that understands
Exactly.
it. And I have seborrheic dermatitis, which flares up, and so I need somebody to address it because it affects white
Right.
people and lighter people very differently than it does black people. And so I want a black dermatologist. However, I didn't know this, but dermatology and people of color just kind of got on its feet like 10 years ago. So we don't
Really?
have a whole, yes, like the real research. And we
Uh-huh.
don't have like a whole bunch of to go back and be like, well, this is the studies or the
Uh-huh.
experiments from 1965. No, there's none.
Right.
There's
Right.
none of that. And so the same thing with DEI, but it also just makes me think. Okay, so people of color just are not prioritized.
Right. Exactly. Never have been. And the sad
That's what
part
it
is
seems
that
like.
right, like the sad part is that it's sad at the same time. We're so used to it. When people cut these programs, we're like, you're gonna do it anyway. you know,
Right.
the outrage is coming from so many different people, but we're like, I mean, another plane. We're gonna survive. We're gonna make it.
Yes.
We're gonna get through it. I mean, think about it. They had affirmative action. They took it. I told people affirmative action was actually for black people. They took that away. We still found a way. We didn't make an uproar, but we found a way. It was disturbing and pissed people off, but we're still finding a way to make strides in the workforce or getting corporate jobs and still doing our thing, but it's still it's still that gray area and that line in the sand where it's like nobody's going to admit they're not using or utilize or bringing in culture into their company. They'll say it. The websites look beautiful. Oh, we're diverse and we're dynamic, and they'll put all the pictures up of all so many. Like, man, that black guy don't even work here. That's an actor. But
you said that's an actor.
that's
True
an actor.
facts. Facts.
But they make it beautiful, and that's even when I tell people you're going to interview, ask these questions. Ask questions. Feel like you can feel the culture with whoever you're interviewing, and ask them what makes this company special. What DEI initiatives do you have, or what do you do about making everybody feel welcome in this company? A lot of times, everybody's going to fluff you. You'll hear it and see it because, again, you can have everything on paper, you can have policies, you can have all this detail out here, but that individual person still has a mind of their own, and they get to feel how they want to feel.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at where we are now and how, I mean, some of these companies, they were so quick to pull back on DEI that I'm like, oh, okay, y'all just never wanted to do it.
They never, never wanted to do it. And like we talked about before, if a CEO was in there, if one CEO came in and was like, hey, this is important, and he left and went to another road, the next CEO comes in and was like, what? I wasn't thinking about that, so I don't care about it. This is what I care about, so it doesn't matter. Get rid of it. Let's save some money. The budget is bad. So we'll take the DEI space off the table that somebody gave us from before and add it towards sales or add it towards something else. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the other part of this is what has been the impact? And that's what I always say. What has been the impact? And I'm sure every company and every organization experience the impact very differently. But when CEOs and stakeholders and shareholders, when shareholders and the C-suite and people running the organization, when they see that sales have not increased, or if they tie that to metrics. I mean, because we live in a capitalistic society, period. And it really is like, if you don't see the benefit from a financial perspective, but I do feel there's benefit in that, because when you have diversity, is not just about color. It's diversity of thought. It's diversity of backgrounds. It's diversity of socioeconomic. It's that diversity of education. It is truly, diversity is something you want in an organization.
Exactly. And think about how much overall it brings to America or the United States overall when you do have the diversity, the education, the intelligence, the growth that strengthens the company does come from other countries sometimes, or other nationalities, because they strengthen. I mean, I'm just trying to give an example. Like Duke University probably has a very high cultural background of different students from Asia, from India, from all over the world, from Africa, and then they come in and they get integrated right here in RTP into these corporate companies. They're bringing so much education and value that it only strengthens the company, because now you have a nucleus of just super, super smart human beings that are being integrated into your company, which now makes you an incredibly smart company, an innovative company, like all this thought leadership that you just poured into your company by using that is where you're getting that. But if you go with, because think about it, a lot of people that are here in the United States aren't thinking about doing some of the corporate jobs that are out here. It is coming from cultural background. It is coming from other nationalities. It's not coming from the United States.
Yeah, I have like a couple of data points and I wanted to share. So, okay. So I have a couple of them. So advancements in DEI in 2025, a breakdown. I did a breakdown of advancements and setbacks of DEI in 2025. So I'm going to go over the advancements first. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. So some companies continue to support DEI internally despite public rollbacks. Like Target and Amazon still maintain some initiatives privately. I guess nobody want Donald Trump coming after them. I don't know.
Right.
And then Gen Z is the most racially diverse generation in the U.S., with only 52% identifying as Hispanic or white, reflecting a naturally diversifying workforce.
Gotcha.
There's LGBTQ inclusion. Major U.S. companies report progress in the LGBTQ rights, even amid the political and conservative pushback. Higher education and public sector. Some universities maintain race-conscious scholarships despite legal challenges, finding alternative ways to promote diversity. And new state initiatives aim to replace defunded DEI programs with broader workplace equity. That is a good news. But then there are some setbacks. We have corporate rollbacks, and we just talked about that. Major corporations like Salesforce, Amazon, Google, Meta have all scaled back or eliminated the DEI programs due to political and legal pressure, which is crazy. Some publicly traded companies face pressure from conservative investors and boards to move away from DEI hiring practices. And then there's some challenges in higher education. So like at MIT, Asian Americans enrollment rose from 40% to 47%, while Black student enrollment dropped from 15 to 5% following the 2023 Supreme Court ruling on affirmative action. At Harvard, a 4% decrease in Black student enrollment for the class of 2028, with twice as many students, 8%, opting not to report their race compared to previous years. Then public universities face growing pressure to eliminate DEI course mandates, with costs reported at nearly $2 billion over the past 4 years. Then you have public and legal resistance, right? So 40-day boycott at Target led by Reverend Jamal Bryant in response to DEI cutbacks, signaling public backlash against rollbacks, which I don't really love. I mean, I have not gone to Target. You know, ain't nobody seeing me in Target. But however, those people who we support, those Tabitha Browns and Honey Pot, their products are still on those shelves. So their products are just going to sit there. So like, we got to be more smart about these boycotts. Cause I do be thinking sometimes they'd be like, well, just don't go. And I'm like, okay, well now, I mean, what about those people we care about their products? And then there's anti-DEI legislation in some states that have forced the closure of multicultural systems or centers and eliminated funding for race-conscious scholarships. So you got that. So the overall outlook of DEI, it's still evolving, and some companies are quietly maintaining efforts while others are publicly stepping back due to legal and political pressure. But the generational shift in workforce demographics suggests that the long-term DEI efforts will remain necessary, even as current initiatives face hurdles. Let me tell you, these young people ain't having it. They're like, no. No. They'll tell you in a minute. Like even my daughter, like I think my grandfather was like, I don't understand all this pronouns. She was like, well, let me give it to you. She, them, him. She was like, it's not that hard. And so they standing on business when it comes to this. So I'm just saying, like, honestly, it's a unique place. And I think that the George Floyd and like we said, a lot of people were, that was 2020 was a bad year. I mean, it was a lot of Black people and police brutality and police killings and murders. So, yes.
But it's not like that was new either. We just put
that's not new.
It's not new. You know?
That's not new.
It just hit the right heartstrings for people to join in, and then somebody took it and found a way to monetize it. And it's
that is so true.
Wow.
That is so true.
It hurt. But going back to your Target thing with Jamal Bryant, real quick. Now, I heard him talk about it. He called it a 40-day fast. But the reason why he said they specifically targeted Target is because Target had an initiative to spend $2 billion in the Black, just whatever for Target. I don't know what the initiative was about. And when they, so they already had this
retailers.
But they had this big initiative on DEI, and then when they cut it, they said nope. They took that money back. That's why they attacked Target, because it was like you had the biggest spend. Target, we spend in the Black community alone. Black folks at Target alone spend $12 million a day.
I used to be up in Target every day. That Target low key is my favorite store.
Right.
They are I wish they would not have done this.
Right, right. Because on that, when they had that day when everybody was like boycotting, I was
Yeah,
like,
I needed something. Yeah,
do I order the day before or
yeah.
come the day after? Because they still gonna
After,
get their
yeah,
money, but I
right,
don't
right.
know.
I needed deodorant that day, so I was like, I'm sorry, I got to buy my deodorant. I mean, I mean, I tried to buy it from a small business, but I was like, y'all not gonna have me out here funky. I
I'm gonna,
mean,
I'm gonna use my Prime account and send it 2 days later, so won't nobody.
right. Let me get on here today.
Right.
So what do you think about like okay, so let's get into we talked
Hmm.
about leadership. So here we are at the roadblocks, I think, right? The
Yeah.
roadblocks of why DF efforts fail. Um,
Hmm.
and we talked about the resistance from leadership, but what about the tokenism and burnout in ERGs? Because we ask people, well, we ask a lot of people to do a lot of work for little to no money to keep these
Hmm.
programs going with little to no budgets. So
Right.
that's the burden on unrepresented employees. So what do we think about that?
Oh man, now that you say that, it's kind of it just it's like PTSD a lot because you're
It
like
is. It is.
we have the programs, but it's just there. Yeah, you got to put them up. It's just there as a placeholder for, oh, we have it. That's it. There's not a lot of statistics. I don't think a lot of strides have happened, but you can tell it's almost like, well, let's throw them some pizza real quick and have a little social hour to make them feel
Did you say
happy.
some
But that
pizza?
some pizza, yeah, but they didn't move anything. You gave us a little social hour. What are we actually physically doing to make an impact? And I think, like you said, with that token, most of those ERG groups to me become big token groups. I know
Mm-hmm.
I've been hired as a token in several positions. I know I have. And that's what you realize, that everybody here in this group is here because they were needed to fill in that one gap for their department that's full of everybody else except them in that group. I don't know how many times I've seen that. But now we come
Mm-hmm.
together trying to figure out how we can make this company better. We have a white CEO sponsor in our group who speaks to us maybe once a quarter, that promises these things are going to happen and change, or here's what we'd like to do, and then nothing happens. So I would love
Well,
to say that the ERGs are going to can push, but I don't know how much power they have if it's just a placeholder.
that's facts. And so that is totally facts. And the thing about it is that a lot of times I know in my like an organization I worked with a while ago, they'd be like, I'm not being the leader of your DEI program because you ain't
Right,
gonna
right,
tokenize me. Find somebody else to do it. Because they like,
right.
no, you're not gonna tokenize me because of because I'm black and now I should be in charge of the black ERG. Like, I mean,
Exactly.
but also who knows us better than us? So it is hard to like
Yeah.
do that. And but I do notice the ERG leaders, they get burned out. They also
Very
want money.
fast.
They want paid because they're like,
Hmm.
the leaders want paid. And
Right,
then there's the debate on, well, that is a company initiative, right? And
right.
so, but also why, I got to go back to this. Why
Go
is
ahead.
it
Let's go.
ever looked down on to have diversity? Like, what is
Right,
happening? Like, that's what I
right,
just
right.
don't get it. When did that become
People
out
don't
of
get it.
style?
I don't know how diversity to people says black. It doesn't.
They swear up and down to do, honey. They swear up and down
It
and
did.
do.
You say diversity, everybody says black. It's like, no,
Oh, the
that's
black
not
people.
diversity.
Not
Inclusion doesn't mean
inc-
black. I mean, equity
equity
doesn't mean
doesn't
black.
mean black. Right, right.
Right. What?
None of that means any. What it means, and that's the thing is like a lot of companies are doing like the the equity, which I think the equity is probably the most important. I mean,
Right.
diverse. It's all important, but
Right.
equity keeps people paid equitably. It gets people to be able to start. Equity is not equality. I gotta tell
Right.
people this all the time.
Exactly.
Equity is not equality. Equity is, hey, I started here and you started there. So maybe I can give you a chair so you can get there with me.
Well, why? See, that's another question. Here goes my why again. Because what we is a lot of companies have to go back and do is look at the scale and wonder why these folks down here, which is usually Hispanics and blacks and any other race, has to go up and catch up with somebody who's less in tenure, who came in with a higher salary. So now we got to figure out how to get you back up here when you should have did that from the start. Why are we giving people the minimum of a mid-range for them to work up to a middle range of a minimum of the mid? I mean, just thinking about the whole scale, like even when I negotiate, I'm like, put me at the upper mid-range. So when I move up, I'm going to the high part, and you guys understand that, oh, yeah, we need to pour into this man or this woman, whoever gets this role, to be of value because we actually invested in them from the start. So they'll give somebody who is 2 years in or just started out of college the mid-range salary that might be white, and then give you the low bar like, oh, yeah, you'll work your way up the ladder. That's no. That's where we make the mistakes.
Yep, that is totally, but that is why companies should be doing every year a pay equity audit. Period.
Right.
You got to do a pay equity audit because you've got to make sure. And one of the things with pay equity though is like, I think doing it internally is the best way. Some people get other people to do it, but if you do it internally, it's better in HR because you know what the people actually do. Yeah, a title is so-and-so, but what they actually do is this, and this is why they're paid this money. You know what I mean? So I think internal pay equity, but you always should be doing pay equity assessments, like to make sure you are paying people. Why would you not want to pay people equitably? That's what I just don't understand. That to me is evil. Okay. Like
it's two faults though. I'm gonna tell you what, it's their fault and it's our fault because we come to the table and we don't know how much we can actually ask for because they haven't researched. So we go in there and they'll say, we'll give you $135,000. And you're like, okay, that's what's up. I'll take it. Sign the deal. You get into work and you realize you could have made 165. Because we didn't ask, we didn't learn, we didn't educate, we didn't take time to negotiate and actually understand my value is worth that, or what is this value for this market. So, yeah, sorry to interrupt on that one, but I just thought about that.
No, you didn't. I think it's right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the candidate is at fault. But what I do like is that companies now have to post the range of the job.
Right.
Listen, I always tell people if the price ain't on what they go pay you ain't on the job description, don't apply. I would not apply for it. I don't got time to be playing these games with y'all.
Right.
Like, what are you paying people?
Here's what they're doing, though. They are tricky with this. And this is how I start understanding. I have lots of recruiters that are friends, and I have a lot of executive recruiters as well. So if I'm applying for a job, what they do now is they're going to go with the lowest salary at the lowest state, and they're going to go with the highest salary at the highest paying state. And that's how they set up the pay range. So it'll be a director role, and they'll say, oh, we start off at 139 to 283. So when they come in, what are your salaries expectations? You're like, I don't know. So if you pick whatever you pick, they're like, oh, perfect. 180. And they could have been paying you 250, but you're like, yeah, I'll take 180.
I'll take it. Yeah,
we won. You're like,
so
no,
wait a minute. How do you think they're using large ranges on purpose?
They are. If you think about it, if I use a large range,
we don't do that. So I don't.
And it's based on New Mexico, then based on New York or California, again, and that's not even total compensation. So the total compensation, you can go on Glassdoor. Is it Glassdoor? I think it's Glassdoor, and look at the ranges for a particular company to see how much they've done for total compensation for the average employee. And you can see where you can fit in to see what to ask for. And now you can go in there with the right mindset. Well, you're paying an average person this as the average. Now I understand where I need to be. And let me stop penny pinching on what I'm like. I'm just happy to be this job. Let's be real. No, you're not. You want to get something that's going to make your family happy and achieve. So again, DEI, we're just saying it right now. You got to think about DEI inside yourself. It's like, God, it's already in you. You're diverse.
It's already in you. You said it's already in you. It's already in you. I love it.
Right, it's already in you. So go ask for it. Learn and ask for what you need to know. And that goes back to what I said before. If you know what you need to know, then you know what to ask, and then you know how to be connected. And the better you ask these questions, the more you'll connect with your leaders. And that's where we go to that. That connection is what's missing too.
That is
connection
missing.
is missing.
That is missing. We are moving down to our strategy. So this is our time to be able to help people and give the strategies for corporate leaders and employees around diversity, equity, and inclusion. You want to talk to the leaders and executives?
I want you to. You've been an executive. You've been an executive way longer than I have. So I think this is a big key. I would love to learn from the SVP. Please tell us what your goals are for equity and inclusion for the future.
I mean, also so I think that one of the things that organizations need to do outside of just internal diversity, equity, and inclusion is external community. And my company does a really good job at the community. But like tying DEI to business outcomes. And that is something that a lot of organizations were missing. How do we tie diversity, equity, and inclusion to our business outcomes? Because then guess what? There are metrics. There are metrics when you do that. Transparent goal setting and reporting. Be upfront about, we can, this is the thing, upfront about where you're at. Because we can't, if you're not upfront about where you are as an organization, you can't set the goal to get somewhere because you're not even upfront about where you actually are. Right. So that's that. Then the funding of ERGs and initiatives beyond just the optics. We got to quit the like performative stuff. Just because so-and-so did it, don't mean you got to do it, because so-and-so did it because it matches their business. Y'all got two different businesses. So stop copying what so-and-so did and do what actually fits your culture, and then fund those ERGs. So that's my advice. What is yours for the HRDI teams?
I mean, when you say like getting the leadership, in the storytelling and the data, that, like you said, that's transparency across the board, but it has to have a trickle down effect. I'm CEO, I'm the SVP, I'm the VP, I'm the senior director, I'm the director, I'm the manager. It has to be told all the way down. And I think that's important at those levels. It's still important the ERGs to have the data and storytelling in their space as well. How effective is our ERG to the company? Like, you have to have those things as well. And I'm talking about from the Latino support groups, from the African American support group, from the women, the what's the best
parents,
success,
the caregivers,
the parents, the caregivers, everybody. Let's do that. And here's something that, when you measure those success, you get those numbers, you get better promotion. But let's see what the engagement looks like across the board for the company. And when you say fostering sponsorship, like, I think that's important because it doesn't exist in a lot of companies, but you got to preach that to, like, we want to help you be better.
And I want you to be saying my name when I'm not in the room.
Right. I want you to say my name.
That's a sponsor.
Say my name. Say my name.
Exactly.
Like, you know what? Did you hear about Charise? Charise is doing great things. I think I want somebody to do that. And I want somebody that is not my skin complexion, that's understand that. And I think, but here's the flip side again. We can't, and I think there's a lot of people I've dealt with in Career Transformation Academy that is, woe is me. No, just because you're there doesn't mean they owe you anything. You got to speak up. You got to be vocal. You got to connect with your leader so they understand, oh, this person is serious about this. They're dedicated. They're committed. They want to be in this company. I want to promote this person. And don't do it with an attitude. Just have that feeling of connection. And if it's not working for you, go to another job. Don't sit there for 14 years waiting for them to give you something.
Oh, my Lord. I just talked about that in Queens Behind the Scenes about for women, how we like wait for permission. And I cannot stand that. We have got to. Anyway, I ain't going to get on that tangent because I already did it this week on Queens Behind the Scenes. So I ain't even going to get on that. But yes, we need to stop waiting around for people to give us $2 and actually speak up. And for employees, and this is what I say for employees, the people I work with, be an active ally at work. Like, correct people when they're saying wrong things. Correct people when they are misrepresenting data and facts about diversity. Be an ally to people. Advocate for inclusion without fear of backlash. Oh no, so-and-so needs to be in this room because they are hearing this is happening and they are an expert on that. Quit, because the bottom line is, quit being scared somebody wants your job. Nobody wants your job. People just want included to be able to do the work that they are doing. So advocate for inclusion.
And one other thing.
Go ahead.
Celebrate other cultures. I love celebrating Diwali, celebrating things that happen in the UK. Diwali is off the chain. I love it.
Me too. It is. Me too. I love Diwali.
I think celebrating other people's cultures and putting that at the forefront, like Google does it every day. If it's a celebration of a different country on Google, it'll be on their actual search bar. and you click on that, and it celebrates and gives you the history of different cultures. Every company needs to do that, because now you get educated on things you didn't know, instead of looking at somebody like, wonder what's wrong with them. No, let's celebrate it.
Let's celebrate it. I know. I really want to get. I'm about to have to beg somebody. I want to get invited to a Diwali party so bad, so I can because if you do that, if you're invited to it, you get to eat the amazing food, and you get to do the dress. You get to dress like like I think that is so amazing. I'm getting invited this year, and I'm gonna take a ton of pictures. Getting invited.
Yeah. It's definitely fun learning that. It's definitely celebrating. It's definitely like, I don't know. They got rid of Juneteenth. Did they get rid of that holiday as well?
No, ain't nothing got rid of about no Juneteenth.
but look how long it took for Juneteenth to come out.
And it is a
major celebration when you think about how important it is to this country, to this world, just that celebration also. You get to celebrate these different things that kind of bring things together. And you can ask questions, I think that's the allyship right there. Maybe just don't touch my hair.
Yeah, don't touch my damn hair.
Don't touch my hair.
Well, what are our final thoughts today?
Well, if you really want to know.
If you really want to know.
If you really want to know. I mean, we got to make DEI meaningful. It has to be more than just buzzwords. So, I mean, if there's action at every level, I think we talked about this really good today, is that every level has to have actions. It has to start with that CEO of that company. It has to, and first bringing that down from the culture of what's important. If it's not there, I think we're understanding that even as your individual self, we say DEI is already in you. You need to bring it with you to the company. You need to bring it to there. So really, what's the real DEI strategy? I'm sorry, this is a question for you, right? Or this is a question for both of us?
It's a question for the listeners.
For the audience, for the listeners. I'm sorry, for the listeners out here. So we want you to comment. We want you to talk to us, because I think this is a very interesting topic that's going around in everybody's company. You're probably silent about it, but literally, what's one real DEI strategy you have seen that works? I mean, physically, mentally, actually worked. So drop it in the message, drop it in the comment, put it on YouTube. We'll have clips on Instagram and all the other platforms we have. Just let us know, what do you think that works?
And one last thing I want to say, because I do have to say this. Mm-hmm. When organizations are, hiring our DEI professionals, I mean, I know some companies are doing away, but not all. We have got to be more intentional about the people we hire. We need real experts, okay? I don't want somebody to just, we need experts that can be able to talk to the C-suite and explain to them why it is important and how it can affect the business outcomes and connect the metrics there. Somebody who is going to use the data to be able to say, listen, if we do this initiative, it ties into this, and then we can make that. If you don't have that type of strategic DEI person, then it is performative, and all we doing is throwing parties and taking field trips.
Right. We don't want that.
We don't want it.
So, man, this is beautiful. This is great.
And where you are is beautiful.
Hey, I'm here, baby. I'm here, baby. Getting distracted with all these beautiful Hispanic folks and black folks. And look, when you're on vacation, it's DEI,
It's DEI on vacation.
It's DEI on vacation. Everybody's like, hey, how you doing? Great. Having fun.
How about stay away from, when you go to the airport in Cabo, I'm going to tell you right now, they got a pharmacy in there. Stay out of the pharmacy. They got painkiller stuff that we have to get prescriptions for. The lady was like, come in. I was like, And so she was telling me how to use something. And my husband was like, so you won't take medical advice from that cashier.
First of all, I'm about to go see if they got some GLP in the pill form.
They do. They do. Rybelsus. They have it in that airport.
I'm about to be skinty. There's a pharmacist next door and across the street. We're going back over there.
Yes,
and get
they
us
have.
Some GLP-1.
It's called Rybelsus, and it's the oral form of Ozempic.
I'm gonna be skinty.
Yeah, but it's expensive. It's like $400 for a box, 30-day box of it. But you will be skinny at the end of 3 months.
That's all I need. I'm trying to have abs at 45.
Okay, let's do this.
You want me to get you a box too?
No, don't give me no. If I take it, then I'll be disappeared. So I'll be disappeared.
I'm gonna go in there and buy a whole bunch of them and sell it when I get back home.
Let me tell you, you can only buy 3.
Oh, that's good.
And
I need. That's my 6 months right there.
There you go. So this is what I'm telling you. So you got to get your friend to buy 3. You buy 3. Then you got 6 months right there.
There we go.
And then,
6
I'm
months.
telling you, walk the pharmacy in there. But if you got a medical place across the street, just walk on over there.
We're going back. We walked by yesterday anyway. Welcome to Cabo, everybody.
All right, yeah, I know. And I'm gonna text you the actual spelling of it though.
Okay, good. Look at me. Next time I get on, I'm gonna be on here small, just skinny in the face. It's gonna be hilarious. Hey, folks, make sure you share and subscribe this episode and follow for more insights in the workplace realities.
We are fun.
We're doing this. We're fun. We're gonna keep doing this as much as we can. I'm pretty sure people are going to be like, man, every episode's getting better and better. I love it, man. I appreciate you so much, Charise.
I appreciate you too. We're doing a good job. I love it.
Right. We're going to get the website up soon. We should have, not website, but Instagram. We're going to do Instagram. So right now it's Corporately Speaking. It's Queens Behind the Scenes. We're everywhere but our own. But once we get it together, we need everybody to subscribe to that. We'll push everybody to subscribe to that. But Corporately Speaking is on YouTube. So we do have our own YouTube. You can go in there and subscribe and get all this perfect, great messages about corporate space. Please drop comments. Let us know what you think.
Till next time.
Peace.